Hello Israel, Red Planet again with another video. Let's see what's going on with these current events and things that's taking place right now, or have taken place. So let's get into it, Israel. See what's going on.
It's car park right outside of our apartment complex. We're gonna go back Wednesday. I got a mask on. We're gonna pause it real quick. I'll be back out in a sec. Alright, so I'm back inside the apartment right now because that smoke is really thick. And I got a mask on.
Ritchie Creek and Lions Head fires in Marion County have now burned more than 300,000 acres combined, and evacuation orders remain tonight for thousands of homes. Lindsay Nadridge in Staten live, and I know you spent the day talking with people. They're coming back to see what's left of their homes and property. Lindsay?
Yeah, a lot of people are really anxious right now to go back and check on their homes, but the Marion County Sheriff's Office told me they're only letting fire and law enforcement back into Detroit and Idana at this point. They told me they're not even letting in utility crews because it's just too hazardous.
The church is gone. Tony Moore, your house is gone.
Detroit is nearly unrecognizable. Sandy Elwood, who grew up there, shot this video on Wednesday.
It's all very hard to think that that's all gone now.
Her mom's home, along with so many others, burned down.
It was sad. It was extremely sad, and it was extremely eerie and a different experience, something I've never felt before.
Robert Bruce, who also lives in Detroit, hasn't been able to go back, but is pretty sure of what he'll find.
I think it's probably gone. I'm not about 99% sure it's gone. The whole city's gone, pretty much.
He said they didn't get much notice to evacuate, and to get out, they had to drive several miles with fire surrounding them on both sides of the highway. He told me they could feel the heat on their windows.
Scary, because we didn't even know it was coming.
Elsewhere tonight, the National Institute of Standards and Technology publishing a study on the Chimney Tops 2 fire evacuation. Wildfire burning in Sevier County back in 2016. We've told you steep terrain and high winds hurt firefighting efforts. As part of the new study, 400 Sevier County residents responding to a survey. It found nearly 80% of evacuations happened the day the fire breached the Gatlinburg city limits, despite the fire burning days earlier in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Researchers uncovering an unexpected phenomenon, though, where they say all the smoke actually appeared to lower people's sense of danger. When writing, quote, since this wildfire was actually burning for a week in the surrounding area, we propose that some kind of desensitization might have happened, end quote. And Tennessee Congressman Phil Rowe saying, quote, now as wildfires are raging across our nation, the lessons we can learn from studying previous tragedies can help save lives. Going on to say, quote, I think we all need to reflect upon what was learned from East Tennesseans who lost loved ones, friends, homes, and businesses, end quote. And if you want to read over the full Chimney Tops 2 fire evacuation study for yourself, to learn more about the unique challenges it posed, we have a link to it on our website at WATE.com.
And now we take you to the Oregon coast. The fire in Lincoln County did not grow overnight, but already 100 homes there are burned. The fire started Monday near the town of Otis. Some evacuation restrictions were lifted for Lincoln City today. We came across a man overlooking Devil's Lake, trying to see if his home survived. Photos taken Tuesday show he'd lost a couple of outbuildings and some vehicles. The fire had come within feet of his home.
The people out in Otis and Rose Lodge, my understanding where the fire really came through, that I have more concern for those people because they lost everything. I didn't lose everything. I still have my house.
The Forest Service says the Echo Mountain fire is still very active and not at all contained.
Soon be upon us as we continue to grapple with the pandemic. While in many cases children are asymptomatic carriers of the coronavirus, the same can't be said about influenza. Sophia Millar is speaking with health experts about how both viruses could impact your kids this year and how to keep them healthy. It's the LEX 18 Big Story at 5:30.
The emergence of the upcoming influenza season is actually more concerning for children than COVID-19.
While nationwide hospitalizations of children with COVID-19 remain low, Dr. Sean McTighe reminds us historically the flu tells another story.
Many of those wind up in pediatric intensive care units, and some of those wind up on ventilators.
According to the CDC, in 2018, more than 46,000 kids ages 0 to 17 were hospitalized because of the flu. Adding COVID-19 to the mix is a double-edged sword. For one, we're currently taking precautions that help prevent the spread of disease, like wearing masks.
We certainly have reason to believe that would also cut down the risk of spread of influenza as well. So certainly no reason for folks of just about any age not to be wearing a mask.
However, both influenza and the coronavirus share many common symptoms.
They're very similar, and that makes it a challenge to discern, what type of symptoms are related to COVID and what type of symptoms are related to flu.
Health experts are urging people to get vaccinated for the flu.
In early September on, most places will have access to them, so you'll probably be able to get those, if not now, very, very soon.
Though we're still waiting on the approval of a COVID-19 vaccine, Dr. Forster says we can help ourselves and those around us stay healthy from at least the seasonal flu by getting vaccinated. Sophia Millar, LEX 18 News.
Well, Mark, you can forget about seeing the Olympic Mountains tonight. Right now, it's hard just to see the boats down at the marina here on the Everett waterfront. For the past few months, we've all been living in this COVID world where we're told it's safer to be outdoors than indoors. And now the fires are forcing us to retreat back inside our homes. Wildfire smoke is darkening skies and emptying streets throughout the region. A fire burning east of Darrington is adding to the trouble as people across Snohomish County are feeling burned out.
It's so bad I can't even breathe.
This was the view driving across the Tacoma Narrows Bridge today as smoke billowed north from monumental fires in California and Oregon. The Puget Sound Clean Air Agency deeming the air unhealthy for everyone. Forecaster Joel Cresswell says it could slip into the very unhealthy category over the weekend. When is this all going to end?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's really hard for us to know when it's going to end. There is so much smoke out there. There's a lot of smoke out over the ocean. And so it's just really hard to predict at this point when it's going to end.
All this comes under the backdrop of the coronavirus pandemic. People who are especially vulnerable to COVID are especially vulnerable to air pollution. With restaurants expanding their seating areas outside, it'll likely be a tough weekend as people head back indoors. Cresswell says smoke particles, many times finer than the width of a human hair, can cause big problems.
Those can go really deep into your lungs, and then they can also pass from your lungs into your bloodstream. And so they can affect your respiratory health, and they can also affect your circulatory system. And so, they're affecting you not only in ways you can feel. We can all feel the smoke in our lungs when we go outside, but they're also affecting you in ways that you can't feel.
And so you've heard this before, but it's worth saying over and over again. For the next couple of days, keep your doors and windows closed. Limit your time outside. Do not exercise outside. And please don't do anything that could start another fire, like throwing a cigarette butt outside the window. Live in Everett tonight, Eric Wilkinson, King 5 News.
Okay, get inside, Eric, and thank you for that report.
No matter where you live, officials say you need to be careful if you have to head outside. There is an air quality advisory statewide for Oregon.
Yeah, it's really bad out there. Officials say smoke can irritate your eyes, lungs, and sinuses, and it can have very serious effects on those with chronic heart and lung issues. We talked to Dr. Gopal Alada at OHSU, and he says cloth masks, wet towels, and bandanas are not enough to filter out the fine particulates that can enter the lungs. He just recommends staying indoors.
If we think of the particles in the air as the bad thing, we got to stay away from them. So the first, second, and third rule is stay indoors as much as possible. Stay out of the outdoor environment where all this air exposure and wildfire particles are floating about.
Dr. Alada also suggests that when you're in your car, you should drive with the windows closed and the air conditioning on. But as Tony's been talking about this morning, make sure you're hitting it so it's recirculating and not sucking in the air from outside.
It looks like fall fog, but it's really just thick wildfire smoke pouring into the northwest. This was the scene this afternoon in Seattle, and it's only expected to get worse this weekend. We are seeing some of the worst air quality in recent memory, considered unhealthy for everyone by the Puget Sound Clean Air Agency. Glad to have you with us today. I'm Greg Copeland.
I'm Jessica Janner Castro. Seattle